A special thank you to Glenn Kramer, Mark Ware, Byron Colley, Steve Dix, Bill Schreiber, Christopher Hunt, Felix Rodriguez, James Rogers, Norman Fair, Daniel Mayer, Kyle Sarpolis, Leland Lampkins, Lonnie Meisner, Michael Douglas, Paul Wood, Michael Scott, Samuel Draney, and Tom Champion.
Well, it's slot car fun again. One of my favorite videos to do, and one of the most seen of all my videos I do, despite everything I do about the work at my motion picture studio effects art slash studio I have in Ventura now for the past 10 years, where we do everything you can imagine, from painting, sculpting, monsters, making masks, making creatures, making starship models, everything and everything. It's called making. That's what we do. But the most popular thing is the slot cars. That should all make you very happy, because it makes me happy, because I think it's an incredible hobby. I left out rockets. We had a great launch today, and I think rocketry and slot cars are my two favorites. Slot cars being number one, rocketry, and then flying model airplanes. Slot cars are just great. I just, you know, in fact, out of all the clubs and hobbies I've been involved in, the people in it are the very, very best. Not to say that the people in the other hobbies aren't great, but what I've noticed about slot cars is that there's very little talk, if any at all. In fact, there hasn't been that I've ever heard at the club races, at Electric Dreams, on the forums and stuff. No one talks about politics and religion. And that's fine by me, because I don't care about either one of those things. I just want to have a good time and enjoy my hobby, and you guys are great at it. Thank you. So that really adds to the hobby. The cars are cool. I love racing and all that stuff, but just the whole attitude of the community is wonderful, and it always puts a smile on my face. And when I go through Facebook every day and I look at Home Racing World, thank you, Harry, and thank you, John Albright and Dave Kennedy and all the people that manage that and admin that. It's a great site. Old School Racing and the Scotland track people. I'm leaving out some. There's a lot of good ones there, and I love them, and they always put a smile on my face, because people are really fun, and what they're doing is fun, and I see the work they're doing, and I find it very inspiring. You know, if you ever feel yourself hitting a low with slot cars, or you think you are, which I think is kind of impossible, you know, just cars are great. You go and look at some guy who just made a really cool car, and you go, oh God, I want to do something like that. And just, you know, I'm going on and on, aren't I? I'm sorry. Can you tell I'm excited about it? And I've been this excited about slot cars since I was 10 years old, as most of you have been, and you know you have. So, now that I've stopped babbling on so much and thanking you, and I do thank you, I wanted to talk about catamarans. Well, actually, it started with the Lotus Super 7 for me, and when I first saw the Lotus Super 7 was in one of my favorite TV shows when I was in high school, The Prisoner, with Patrick McGowan. I will not be pushed, stamped, filed, indexed, briefed, or numbered. My life is my own. Great show, great message, but an even greater car. So when I saw that car, I was really, at that time, I had my first sports car, which was a Triumph TR3. And it wasn't a Lotus Super 7, but it had that same British, in the open, really no top, open car feel. But I always wanted a Lotus Super 7, and in fact, it was I wanted that car for so long, and then finally, after I got out of high school, I came into some money because my dad had passed away, and he left me some money, and I went and looked at a Lotus Super 7. I found one. Came with a trailer, spare engine, track tires. I drove it. The guy was really cool. I got to drive it, and oh man, the car was just amazing. And so I came home, I told my mom, that's the car I wanted to get. She took one look at it and said, you know, you're going to kill yourself in it. Because my dad was a driver, and unfortunately he got killed in a car crash, but it wasn't driving. It was, I mean, in a race. He was driving to work, a drunk driver. Long story. It's enough to say that I was only 14 when he passed. So, you know, she looked at that car and she was like, you know, so I was very disappointed, very upset that she wouldn't release the funds to me, because I think I was just about 18, maybe not quite. And Rosie the Wonder Dog. Hi, Rosie. I came home one day and there's a British Racing Green 1967 Spitfire with, I think, 20,000 miles on it sitting in my driveway. And I went inside and I said, oh, Rosie, what do you want? I don't have anything. She wants a treat. Who's that car in the driveway? It's really cool. She says, that's yours. Here's the keys. I couldn't believe it. I'll never forget driving off in that car and just saying, my God, this is mine. Well, it didn't end there, and that's another show. They talk about how many different sports cars I've owned. I mean, it's amazing. I'm trying to collect them as slot cars, but I haven't been able to do it entirely. Although John Warren did recently have a body of the Alfa Romeo Spider, the early one. I had a 64 Veloce, but I'm going to have to convert it to a Veloce because it had a bubble on top of the hood for the dual Webers. Love that car. That's going to be coming soon. But again, I digress. We're going back to the Catamaran, which is really the Lotus Super 7. And when Lotus stopped making the kit car, and it was a kit car that you assembled yourself, they another company picked up the design. They called it the Catamaran, but really it's a Lotus Super 7. And this is painted to look like Patrick's car in The Prisoner. I mean, everything's exactly the way it was. I built a frame for it. It's a 1/24 scale car, and I love it. And unfortunately, I was using wireless controls for it, and which are 2.4, and they locked me out for some reason. I got some sort of interference or something. The car went straight down the straightaway here and straight into the wall, and I've been slowly, surely putting it back together. What I really loved about what I did is I put the motor actually where it actually goes. So, and the hood comes off, which is cool. So it's just for looks, this car. It's really not for racing. So so let's take a look at some of the other catamaran, or the actual catamarans I have, because I just got one from Jack Sisto Jr., who I race with. And it's a funny story. I was I was on looking at slot car stuff. Geez, what's new? And Mary says to me, have you ever been to Craigslist? I'm curious. Do a search for slot cars there. She didn't know what she was getting herself into, because I did a search. And you know what turned up? A catamaran. One that I had never seen before from Scale Electric. And it turned out to be Frank's, because I wrote to him and he said to me, are you going to be at the race this weekend? Which was today, and I couldn't make it because we had a rocket launch. He said, I'll bring it. I said, oh, so it's you. You're the one on Craigslist. So, so he sent it to me instead, and I got it, and let's take a look at it. Okay, we're back up and running, and we're nice and close. One of the first things that happened to me when I got back into slot car racing in 2012. I bought a bunch of stuff from Electric Dreams, an Inco track, and all this other stuff. And one of the first few cars I got included this catamaran, which came very close to a Lotus Super 7. The tires on it quickly rotted. I forget. I replaced the tires. And the thing that bugged me about the car was that, you know, it had these solid black racing windscreens, and they really should have been clear, I thought. The driver's pretty good. The steering wheel broke on it. You can see it's been driven a lot. This is all tire dust and dirt back in here. Oh, I'm not in frame all the way. But you can see all that. You know, and I liked it, and it runs pretty well, but it really wasn't the car that I would like to have had. And I don't know, it just, you know, now that I have another one, I have plans for this. So we'll talk about that later. So here's what I got. And I got this from Frank, and I don't know when exactly this livery came out, but you can tell from the box, it's in the original box, that it's an older Scalextric, because their logo is not this anymore, and the color of the box is not like this either. And I'm gonna pull this out here. Thank you, Frank, for keeping the box, the original box. There's the car. We'll get it out of here. And I just love this livery. I mean, it's just so cool. I'll zoom in a little closer. No, a little closer, Steve. There we go. I just love this livery. And the other thing I love about it is I like the way the mini lights are painted. I really like the chrome on the headlights, because they are chrome. I love the shock absorbers, which are been painted red. It's got the turn indicators are down here. On the actual Lotus Super 7, they are up here. You're not focusing, are you? There you go. They're up on the fenders, and you know, for racing they moved them, and for the catamaran they moved them. There, now the hood's on right. Yeah, and you can see that I've got mini lights on this, which are not accurate to what Patrick McGowan had in his car. Let me move that aside. Put that down there so you can see it better. It's a bigger car. It's 124 scale, so it takes up more room. It's great. I love it. I think Tamiya did a wonderful job with this, and I got to find some of the parts that are missing. You can see the steering wheel there in the interior, and the spare tire on the back. And they did a really nice job, and this actually runs very well as a slot car, despite the carnage that happened to it. Would you please focus? It's interesting that it's just not focusing. There we go. Anyway, so that's, you know, what the Lotus Super 7 actually looks like. So when you compare the two cars, there we go. When you compare the two cars, you can really see the differences in them, which are not great, but they're there. I like the fact that this, even though the actual car that this is based on did not have a windscreen like this, it had the smaller little ones that were clear. But this car, this car runs really well. I took it out of the box right away when I got it, and I thought, gee, this thing's running pretty good with those Scalextric tires on it. Well, it's got a magnet in it, so we need to get rid of that. So let's see how that happens. I happen to have a screwdriver right here, so I'm going to back out a bit so I don't go out of frame as much, because this camera really has a good zoom on it. So, and oh, it's nice and loose, and I'm assuming that's what holds it in. Although they can be very tricky about where the screws are hidden, and I think there's one up in the front, and to get to it you have to remove that, which is clever. You can tell Frank has had this open before, because it's opening way too easy. Oh, and this whole thing comes off like that. Huh, okay, well, there's something new every day. But that doesn't help me get to the nasty magnet. And I see this has been hot glued in, so I'm not sure what Frank did there, but he did something. So we're gonna, Frank's a great guy, by the way. Oh, got all kinds of parts. This thing is disassembling itself quite well. I hope I know how to put it all back together. That's always a problem. Okay, so that did not come apart like I had hoped it would. Is there a screw in there I'm missing or something? No? So that should have opened that up, but it, oh, is there, wait a minute. What's this here? It's like there's something there. I'm not sure what that is. I'm not sure how this comes out. It's a mystery to me. Nope, I do not want to come out of there. And I want that magnet gone. And I'm suspect. Oh, look, that comes off like that. So, and there's the magnet. And again, I can see Frank's been busy. So he has actually done some work on this car. There's the drive shaft. You probably kept the magnet in because it's known well that the tires on these cars aren't as good, but I just have a real aversion to magnets. So if I can get that out of there, I'd really like to. But of course, this is not going to be easy. You know why? Because you can't pop it out past the drive shaft, and he's locked that drive shaft in with some hot glue. There's only one way to remove it, and that's to grind this off and pop it out to the bottom, which I really kind of hate to do, but it's not going to come out that way. It isn't. Darn thing. And we just lost another part, which I'm not sure where it's going to go. I guess it went up here. Okay. Boy. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut the camera, and I'm going to do some grinding and get that magnet out. Okay, well, you know, I don't like what it does to the car. I like to keep the cars as original as I possibly can, but I added that to my magnet pile. I popped it out. I couldn't get it out that way. I didn't want to mess with what Frank had done here, so, everything's still intact. So now I got to put the car back together, which is another matter altogether. So I think I can do it, though. This goes here. That does, and then we've got these two screws that go here. Isn't this fun? I hope you're enjoying this. I am, because, you know, I've been working hard all week building this Star Trek model. It's a Enterprise E from First Contact, or maybe it was Nemesis. First Contact was the better one. And let's see. And I had to light it, and it wasn't really made for lighting. God, these parts are all separate. My goodness. And it really wasn't made for that, and it was a very hard thing to do. I don't mind telling you. I'm not sure how this went in, but I guess it'll come to me. I got to put this back in here. And so the last 4 weeks, I was on a deadline to get the model done. It's really been tiring, and then we had the rocket launch today. I had to get up at 5 in the morning for that. And so it's nice to take a break and do something like this. So, you know, I put that back, but I needed to take it out again because of the screw that has to go in there. And let me think here. I wish I had seen how this came out, but I suspect it was in here somehow. I could just hear you yelling at me now, saying, "No, no, Steve, that way, this way, that, no, yeah, there you go." I think it goes like that. You know, I do have another one here, which I can reference. Yeah, those are just kind of free floating there, so I do believe they go right there. And then the fenders go on top of that, and they go, oh, it's very handy having this. That seems like those, are the markings forward or backward? I don't know. Well, let's see. We've got a curve there and a flat back there. We've got an angle there, so the angle's on the back of the tire, and that goes that way. Okay. And then I got to figure out how that goes in. That would be it. Here we go. Never panic. Then we got to put the 7 in. The Catamaran 7, I guess they, you know, you'll correct me, but they call it the 7 because of its heritage. Coming from the 7. And you know what? I still would like to have a Lotus Super 7, but they've gone up so much in price. I mean to tell you, they've gone up in price. So I don't know if it'll ever happen, you know. So it all depends. I'm in the motion picture industry. I never know what that phone's going to bring me and, you know, the opportunities that are out there. And so that goes like that. And then this goes on top of here. Look at that. I hope I'm in frame. I am in frame. Isn't that something? So some scale electric cars just really come apart in lots of pieces, and this is one of them. And look at that. You got to watch me actually put this thing back together without screwing it up. I'm saying screwing it up, you know what I'd really like to say, but we have young people watching the show, and so I don't curse. I haven't been looking that much at where I am, but I'm hoping that you can see some of this going together. And then we're going to put it on the track. I should have showed you how well it ran before I took the magnet out. And probably Frank right now is cringing going, God, he shouldn't have done that because it's not going to, well, you know what, I have other tires, so. Okay, still got, looks like the original wheels on it. So, I mean, the original brushes. There we go. See, I am tired. So this one doesn't because I changed them, and also I put some better tires on it. Well, let's find out first how this runs on the track. God, I love this livery. I mean, it's just so cool. Look at that. I'm going to zoom in. I didn't know if this was based on a real car or not, but I did find it on the net. Look at the transition of the blue to purple to red. I mean, it's just really nice. Thank you, Frank, for partying with this. And I got a really good deal on it. Yep, I paid $25 for this car. And it was worth every dime of it. It's just, you know, it's so cool. I'm going to back out again a little bit here. Whoa! There you are, big fella. So, there we go. We're going to put this on the track next, and we're going to see how it goes. Okay, normally I shoot on my cell phone and follow the car, but I'm having troubles getting my video off the cell phone and onto my PC. It's always a struggle, so I'm just going to do it this way. I'm going to put the car on this lane here. It's harder to see this way, but I just want to see how it runs. Okay, it ran terrifically before I took the magnet off. Let's see how it does now. Wow, wow. Okay, Frank, you must have changed the tires on this. It's running great. I think it needs a little bit of work, but it's a much better car now because it actually drives better without the magnets. I think they always do. Let's try cleaning the tires very quickly here. That might make a difference. And then I can try the tires that I know are good tires on the other one, on this. No, I think this is okay. He must have changed the tires. Oh, they have tread on them. They look like the original tires. Maybe they used better tires back then, whenever back then was. And it's getting, they're not so great. They get dirty quick. So I'm going to try my other catamaran that does have better tires on it. It's about the same. Maybe, yeah, it's better. It is. And this is scale electric, folks, and the car's quiet and very smooth and very manageable. Maybe I will shoot some cell phone footage because I got a funny feeling that you're not seeing a lot here. And I can cut back and forth between the two of them. I'm definitely getting more it's not handling as well with the stock tires on it. I think these are stock tires. No, they are not. Frank, you did change the tires on this car, so they just need to be cleaned properly. Okay, I hope you enjoyed that slot car fun. I'm about to run out of battery on this big old camera and my lobs, so I need to charge things up, but I just wanted to cover this new car I got from Frank Sisto Jr. Thank you, Frank, so much for selling me your car. I'm really enjoying it. It's a really nice addition. It's one of the cars that I almost had and my mother prevented me from buying. As always, thank you so much. If you're enjoying the show, please give it a like. It helps a lot. I also do have a Buy Me a Coffee, but you know, the page, I post a lot about my work there. It's all free. If you want to support it, from a $2 to a $5 a month or just a one-time donation, it's always appreciated. It helps me keep doing this. And again, thank you to you guys that have done that. And a few of you have done it so far, and it keeps growing every day, and it's greatly appreciated. It means a lot to me. And we'll see you next week for more slot car fun.